Professor garu, Rector of SV University, and respected Principal of University College, Arts, Commerce and Law, Professor garu, and my dear distinguished professors of the department, my co-scholars and dear friends, a very good morning to all of you. Before I am going to face my Viva voce, just I would like to introduce myself to you that I am Rajasekhar, PhD scholar of this university. First of all, I would like to thank my eminent and stalwart supervisor, Professor and Head of the Department of English, Professor Rajasekhar, who gave me this wonderful privilege and opportunity to stand before you like this today, sir. Once again, thank you very much. Now, I am immensely delighted to convey about the title of my thesis, that is Rewriting the World, a spectroscopic reflection on Amitav Ghosh's hour, which makes an exploration into the world of Amitav Ghosh and which examines the contemporary influence of history, socials and culture. However, I want to give the overall outline of the classification of my thesis work that I could divided my thesis into 6 categories including conclusion. So out of introduction that I would like to convey the entire chapters of my thesis work, that chapter 1, contemporary Indian fiction, chapter 2, indefatigable narrative research, chapter 3, dismantling Eurocentric discourse, number 4, balancing complex history, and number 5, critical institutions and conclusion. So first of all, I would like to convey about the introduction of my thesis, that as the introduction I could present the overall outline of the classification of my thesis in a sense by examining and analyzing the thesis meaning here in the thesis meaning. So here in this context, I deem it pleasure to convey about my author. Amitav Ghosh is the only writer who reflects the truth of Indian reality in the contemporary literary scenario. And among the postmodern writers, he is one of the brightest stars in the galaxy of the new novelists who appeared in the 1980s. And he is also one of the few writers who are respected and admired by the different kinds of readers and lyricist scholars who read his works as critical texts. He bears numerous responsibilities in the world of literature. He executes with admirable aplomb as an anthropologist, sociologist, novelist, essayist, travel writer, teacher, and whose looks into global responsibility for establishing peace as an ambassador. Amitav Ghosh always has said he is always excelled global literary standards at with the post-colonial and postmodern writers like Salman Rushdie, Vikram Seth, Vikram Chandra, Shashi Tharoor, and Narendra, etc. All in his major works, including History of Prof 2008 and River Smoke 2011, have enjoyed immense academic attention across the globe for literary criticism. He has created a wide readership and a strong critical endorsement that reflects the truth of the attention of the serious academicians and scholars. Making his debut with the novel The Circle of Reason in 1986, has produced the groundbreaking novel still today even with River Smoke 2011. Some of the works of Amitav Ghosh have become a part of the university curriculum, paving the way for the critical response of the students. And especially Amitav Ghosh is concerned with Indian South Asian diaspora in different regions of the world and analyzing this different regions of the world. And Amitav Ghosh always travels between cultures and lands with the power of imagination. He retrieves the history of India, Bangladesh, England, Egypt and Burma for his novels. In one word, that he is an expatriate fiction writer. However, so according to Nikos Giadis in the book Turbulences on Migration 2000 says that Ghosh's fiction negotiates between two lands and cultures divided by space and time. And at the same time, R.K. Dhawan also says that Amitav Ghosh is perhaps the finest writer among those who are born out of the post-Mediterranean revolution in the contemporary Indian fiction. However, I have chosen the 6 novels of Amitav Ghosh for my thesis work that they are: number 1, Dancing in Cambodia, Atlantis, Burma; number 2, In an Antique Land; number 3, The Glass Palace; number 4, The Imam and the Indian; number 5, The Hungry Child; and number 6, Sea of Poppies. So according to the classification of my thesis chapterization, that I could divided my chapter into 5 chapters, my thesis into 5 chapters. The first chapter entitled Contemporary Indian Fiction, which examines the evaluation of the contemporary Indian fiction in English since the beginning. So, the circumstances responsible for the emergence of the chapter also explores the thematic concerns of the third generation writers with a significant contribution to the enrichment of old literature, and the circumstances responsible for the emergence of Salman Rushdie, Vikram Seth, Vikram Chandra, Shashi Tharoor, and Arvind Rai, etc. are examined in the light of contemporary Indian fiction. The chapter also offers a synoptic view of the thematic concerns of the popular novels such as Midnight Children, A Short Bull Boy, English, August, and the Great Indian Novel. The chapter also offers the thematic popular women novels like the novels of Shashi Deshpande, Manju Kapoor, Geeta Mehta, and Arundhati Roy, and Anita Desai, Nayanthara Sehgal, etc. So here in this point of view that I would like to convey the greatness of the first third generation writer who could show the way for entire the writers who could follow under the footsteps of person, that is Salman Rushdie. So Salman Rushdie, who could convey the greatness of Indian novel and fiction in his own way through the first novel called Midnight Children. So which became a great fabulous novel for entire the India, and not only that for entire the world. So in which he conveyed that he told in an interview that we are going to conquer the Indian world with the Indian fiction, with all these things. So he conveyed the greatness of Indian writers, those who are following the footsteps of Salman Rushdie. And right after that, so many contemporary writers who followed the footsteps of Salman Rushdie and who could take the role model as Salman Rushdie. So this is what I would like to convey regarding Salman Rushdie. Whereas the Shashi Tharoor, who could convey the importance of political history, the importance of greatness of political embassy through his collection of essays, through the novel called The Great Indian Novel. And whereas A Short Bull Boy, which was written by Vikram Seth, he also followed the only footsteps of Salman Rushdie, and who took the role model of Salman Rushdie as his role model. And he also rewritten the story of India through his novels, through the contemporary Indian fiction. The second chapter entitled Indefatigable Narrative Research, which examines the first non-fiction of Amitabh Ghosh, Dancing in Cambodia at large in Burma, and his earliest fiction in an antique land. The first half of the chapter, which examines the contemporary, which examines the thematic understanding of the collection of essays of Dancing in Cambodia at large in Burma. Chapter-wise analytical understanding along with the textual illustration is provided in this chapter. For example, out of 3 collection of essays of this small book like Dancing in Cambodia at large in Burma, the first essay entitled Dancing in Cambodia, which recreates the ever history of King Shishawat to Europe along with his 100 classical dancers by his entire age, which took place in 1906. So here, Amitabh Ghosh could go on to Cambodia as an historian and as an invader through his voce skills, through his culture, as he had the passion towards the culture, as he had the passion towards the exploration of the past history. He would like to go, and he has done his level best regarding the Cambodian and his history of Cambodia. So as soon as he went there to Cambodia, he had a friend called Siyasami, who was lineage of King Shishawat, and she was once upon a time, she was also a old student with Amitabh Ghosh, and through her he could take all the information regarding the King Shishawat's family. So here in this critical point of view that Amitabh Ghosh could take the history through exploration of all his research skills. Such a great passion that he had towards the history as an anthropologist, sociologist, and so on. So with this, what I would like to know, or what I know was that he had a great passion and with a lover of exploring of history, past history, through his research skills. He is not the writer who could sit in front of the net and taking the information, but he go forward and take the information through his own eyes, what he experienced there at Cambodia. That is the greatness of Amitabh Ghosh. And regarding the second essay entitled Stories in Stones, in which he explores the significance of an important cultural symbol temple called Angkor Wat, which is a unique fictional creation, the romance of the Cambodian people, through which people adoring like anything the presence of the temple in this country. So here in this point of view also, Amitabh Ghosh gone forward and he has examined with his own eyes and with his own fingertips the stones of Angkor Wat. He came to know the greatness of that particular country and that particular particular culture and history with all his research activities. So there and then he wrote this particular small journal, essay called Stories in Stones. So in those stones he could see and examine the greatness of that particular nation like Cambodia through the essay called Stories in Stones. And whereas the third essay entitled At Large in Burma, which reflects the experiences of Amitabh Ghosh with Aung San Suu Kyi, who is a democratic leader, and once upon a time she is also a classmate to Amitabh Ghosh in Delhi University and as well as Oxford University. So they both are. He also inspired a lot by the way of living of Aung San Suu Kyi in the Burma, and he also came to know the entire history of Burma and their lineage and the way her father was assassinated by the people of Burmans, and the way her entire family has been finished and smashed by all these people of Burma in the Burma. Moreover, he also would like to know his family members who were there before Independence Day and before independence in Burma. His family members, family members who were also spent there in the Burma for so many days or for so many years there in Burma. So in order to take out the history of his family lineage, that he could go on there and take the exploration of all the history of Burma, Malayan model, Malayan something like that. So with this, I can say that he is not only a fiction writer, he is not only anthropologist and sociologist and travel writer, but he is also a travel writer and historian. He is a very good historian who could convey the greatness of India's history in his own way through all these collection of history. The second half of the chapter, which conveyed about, which discussed about the theme of Indian ancestral land, that explores its Robertan cosmopolitanism. The chapter tries to establish the testimonies with the different cultures. For example, from this book Indian ancestral land also, Amitabh Ghosh could have conveyed or explored the history of the history of Jewish merchant called Abraham Ben-Yehu, who came from Aden to Mangalore around 800 years ago to India, along with his Indian slave called Boma in 1148 AD. So Amitabh Ghosh, when he was in Oxford University, while he was on his way in research regarding this Abraham Ben-Yehu, he was approached by some manuscripts which were found out by Amitabh Ghosh, in which he found out the history of Abraham Ben-Yehu. So with that he wants to know the entire history of Abraham Ben-Yehu in a anthropological description. So at last, by hook or by crook, he was able to take the entire information regarding this Boma, the Indian slave, and as well as this man Abraham Ben-Yehu in his own way. At last he could succeed. So the second half of the chapter in this Indian antique land, that Amitabh Ghosh could have unveiled the multiple interrelationships in between India and Egypt, and also in between Jewish and Islamic cultures and their histories. So in this case, that when he was went away to Egypt from India to the university called Alexandria University, there he spent for so many years as a part of his research regarding Indian antique land book. So and that means Amitabh Ghosh could not do or could not write anything while he was as he was in India, as he was in his place. But he in order to write anything, in order to know anything, he just would like to go forward, and he just would like to know what is the reality is there behind that university, or behind that man, and behind that history. That's what zeal and passion that he had towards the civilization and history through his anthropological bent of knowledge. So in this case, Amitabh Ghosh proved himself when he went away, when he went to Egypt. He molded all the superstitious people there in Egypt in those antique world. So Egypt country in those days, those people, there is a village called Lataifa. In that village, there were the people who are very, very superstitious people. They are very blind people, blind belief people. So in that case, when he went away, in order to doing his research among those people, he molded them in his own way, as he was a well-educated person. So in order to, in the part of his research work, he able to convey the good methods and good things to people of Lataifa in Egypt. So when Amitabh Ghosh entered at first time in Lataifa village, all the people of Lataifa could hate him. They hated like anything, because they never believe in educated people. So they have the belief only in illiterate people like them. But when this fellow, when my author Amitabh Ghosh could gone there and spent for 3 days, 3 years, he could mount them in their own way as educators. So in that case, he had a friend, Naphtali. So he is also a very literate person. So he could saturate his family like anything through the great concern of Amitabh Ghosh there in Egypt, village called Lataifa. And moreover, Amitabh Ghosh also gone very deeply regarding the malicious looks, the malicious attitude of the man in the society. So in those days, as it is the antique world, as it is the antique society, that the entire society of Lataifa suffering a lot from malicious looks. That means jealousy attitude of the people there in the Lataifa people. So as soon as he gone there, he conveyed the importance of education, and he conveyed the importance of good nature among ourselves. So when he conveyed all those things, they came to know the reality, and they felt very happy with the presence of Amitabh Ghosh there in Egypt. So this is another kind of experience of Amitabh Ghosh. So as Samir Dayal also praises it, Samir Dayal, the historian who praises about Amitabh Ghosh, that the tale of the connections among the non-Western cultures. So that means Amitabh Ghosh could have conveyed so many non-Western cultures in between Jewish and Islamic cultures. So after Amitabh Ghosh could have gone there only, they came to know so many good things and bad things among themselves. So that is the greatness of the Amitabh Ghosh as an anthropologist and a historian. After the scholarly critical illustration, I also would like to convey both similarities and dissimilarities of these two books. The similarities of these two books means between these two books, Dancing in Cambodia, Clarence in Burma, and Indian Antique Land, there are the very, very nearest similarities in between these two novels. Actually, Dancing in Cambodia, Clarence in Burma is a non-fiction work, and whereas Indian Antique Land is a fiction work. But but these two fiction, these two novels, these two works are based on the history of 12th century AD. So that is in that way that and moreover those two novels are the background of the historical background novels. So those two novels, the ancient antique world, you would like to convey through these two novels.
Let's move on to the next chapter.
Okay. And whereas, and the third chapter entitled Dismantling Eurocentric Discourse, which examines the first, which presents the comparative and critical illustration of the Glass Palace, the Imam and the Indian. These two novels present the history of South Asian countries. These two novels present the history of South Asian countries. The first half of the chapter, which presents about the thematic understanding of the postmodern architecture in relation to the title. The Glass Palace structure is presented as a deconstruction of architecture. The deconstruction of architecture. The fragile nature of the glass structure is lucidly explained as the theme of the novel. So, at last, the title of the novel signifies loss as well as hope. For example, in this book also, Amitav Ghosh could convey it through the book like The Hungry Tide, the history of three South Asian countries like India, Burma and Malaya, through three generations of Rajsekhar's family, starting from 1885 to 1997, so, which is conveyed as history interface fiction. So that means here in this book, Amitav Ghosh could also convey a lot of history regarding Bahadur Shah Jafar, the last emperor of Mughal. So actually, there is no Bahadur Shah Jafar in that novel, but in place of Bahadur Shah Jafar, he could create another character like Taiba, King Taiba, who also could send to Rangoon as a victim of Anglian people. So like this, and moreover, Rajkumar's family, how he developed in his life as a errand boy up to the greater personality in his life. That's what he conveyed very well as historical background from this novel also. The second half of the chapter is compared to the analysis of the Imam and the Indian, which is a non-fictional narrative. It is a non-fictional narrative which is a collection of 18 prose articles. So it's about Ghosh's experiences on wide variety of subjects published by him in different journals. Towards the end, the chapter explores both thematic similarities and dissimilarities of these two novels also.
Next chapter.
Okay. And the fourth chapter entitled Dismantling Eurocentric, Balancing Complex History. So in this book also, Amitav Ghosh could take the two more books of Amitav Ghosh like The Hungry Tide and Sea of Purpose. The critical perception of the Hungry Tide is received from the critics. The critical perception of the Hungry Tide is received from the critics is presented in the beginning of the chapter, and the thematic concerns of the Hungry Tide is received from the critical point of view that a curious love triangle that involves in between local fisherman Foke and Indo-American cytologist P.R. is unveiled effectively in this chapter. And moreover, in this novel, Amitav Ghosh could convey the relation growing, which relationship going with Kanai's relationship with PRI, and whereas PRI's relationship going with local fisherman Foke. And the second book, the second half of the chapter, which compared the thematic illustration of Sea of Purpose, which is a unique fictional creation on the seafoods of Indian subcontinent. So in this book also, Amitav Ghosh could have conveyed in this latest book, Sea of Purpose, the history of the plights of Dalits in this point of view through this book. So for example, in this book, the curious love triangle that involves in between local Rajput lady and whereas Dalit person, Dalit protagonist, that led into the marriage by eloping, and the consequences that led to the flights of Dalits in this novel. That means Amitav Ghosh could have examined the contemporary life of Bihar society, and there and then he wrote this particular novel called Sea of Purpose, very recent novel in 2008. So later the chapter establishes both thematic similarities and dissimilarities of these two novels, that influence of caste, creed and religion and Indian society. At last the fifth chapter called Critical Elucidation. which provides a very insightful critical and analytical exploration of all the works discussed in the previous chapters in the light of contemporary critical streams. The chapter also examines the contemporary critical streams and contemporary aspects are examined in the light of the four theories like the post-colonial, the postmodern, and a new history.